technology is flawed. It's flawed in the sense that it opens itself up to be manipulated. It's like the perfect storm for manipulation. In the 1980s, we had things called blind pools. Remember blind pools? Blind pools were the biggest scam ever. And that's what all of these coins are. They're blind pools where you raise money and you issue paper, which is big, and it's a limited amount, right? And so it's finite. And then with blind pools, you would say, one day we'll figure out we're going to buy something with the money. Well, with this, we're not even buying anything, right? But the point is money's being raised, you're creating value, and there's nothing behind it. All you're doing is running on scarcity. That model is not going to last. Because
you're putting this in that category?
Oh, it's even worse though.
Would you say it's the same as credit swaps as well, like similar to what happened with the mortgage?
Well, there's a woman who's behind this whole thing also. Was the girl who founded, I forgot her name. The woman who was one of the primary designers of credit swaps is now trying to get Bitcoin used for the same thing because she doesn't care. I see a classic pump and dump happening right now where they're already on the dump on Bitcoin going into the next one, which is Bitcash, right? So I see that happening. I don't think Bitcoin's a scam. But there's scams being perpetrated around Bitcoin that are very dangerous for people that don't know better. And that's why I'm very concerned about it right now, because to the average person who's never been through this before, you could very easily get caught up in something that's going to cost you all your money.
Have you invested yet?
No, not a penny.
Zero. Not Litecoin, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, none of it.
At this point, I can't, because ethically, I've come out heavily against it. And it will not be fixed. The only thing I would do is I would short futures. That would mean I'd have a financial axe to grind, which would make my opinion suspect.
So let's look at both sides. Okay, let's say Bitcoin becomes what you say it is, which is it's a bubble. It's not going to work out. People lose $20 billion. Let's just say that goes away. Okay? But let's look at the other side. If it does become, hypothetically.
It won't, though.
But let's just say if it does.
It won't.
I understand that, but let's just say if we go in the direction where cryptocurrency is done by, let's just say, Goldman Sachs.
And I believe that will happen. That will happen.
That a Goldman's going to do it, and they're going to control the market. Somebody with a lot of credibility.
Absolutely.
If that does happen, who gets hurt the most? What corporations, what industries get hurt the most?
It's the little people that get hurt. Bitcoin is no more useful at 20,000 than at $100. Yeah. It still works, whether it's $100 or $2 billion, you could still use Bitcoin as a currency, right? It doesn't, because you could divide it up a million times. So the only reason it's running up is because it's not being used as a currency. It's being used for wild speculation. And what's happening is that there's two sides to every equation when you come to anything that's trading publicly. And that is there's the market capitalization, which in Bitcoin is, we're saying it's 200 billion some odd dollars, right? But that's irrelevant. All that matters when something is trading is what's called the float. How much is actually out there that's being bought and sold? Almost all of Bitcoin is locked away and is not trading. You have this tiny, so there's $200 billion in market cap. There's probably 2 million or 4, 5, $10 million at the most trading of it. So when you have a very thin market cap like that, it's easy to manipulate it. And what happens is once you buy Bitcoin, it's not so easy to sell it. It's a hassle to sell it. So it keeps getting thinner and thinner, which is why you have these wild swings. And then the latest thing, this latest joke of Bitcoin was this guy. I mean, I just saw something happen, which is, here's a guy who's an insider in this Bitcoin thing, exchange or something, right? And the guy is long, massive amount of Bitcoin, rides up the wave, right? He sells his Bitcoin, and then he announces, after he sells it, he announces, I've sold all my Bitcoin. It's worthless. Get out of Bitcoin. And I put everything into Bitcash. And guess what happens? Bitcash then runs up 100. Why do you think Bitcash is running up? This guy's got a lot of power. That's classic manipulating the market.
I mean, that happened in 1929 with Joseph Kennedy. This is nothing new.
It's classic manipulation. So it's because if this guy did not have a bad intent, you know what he would have done? He would have done that trade and shut up. What was the reason? Why would he say it publicly? I've sold all my Bitcoin, buy Bitcash. All he's going to do is, it's a classic pump and dump. I know I'm right, okay? Here's what I know. I promise you this. One day, in the not so distant future, all these young kids they're going to say, what the hell were we thinking? Like Bitcoin is 20,000. It's nothing. It's not.
I hear
it's
it
almost
every
like
day.
A joke.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that the government is worried about of all crimes, you know what the one thing they hate more than anything? Money laundering. The scam that's going on right now is something was designed to be used as a currency, and it's being used as an investment vehicle. That's what's going on. Okay, there is no real currency going on. It's like this tiny for Bitcoin. No one, for all the action in Bitcoin around the world, what do you think is really being used as a currency? Like virtually nothing. So it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're saying it's a currency. It's not being used as a currency. It's not particularly well suited as a currency for all the reasons we already spoke about. What's going to happen with Bitcoin is going to be a black swan event in the next 6 months. Now, I'm not just, I'm not saying Bitcoin's going down. It might go to 50,000. I wouldn't short Bitcoin for a second right now. I don't know where it's going over the short. I know where it's going over the long term.
But you're on the outside. You're just kind of looking to see what's going to do.
I'm not saying it's going down. In fact, most of the interviews I said I think it's going up. Now I'm not so sure right now because the inside is now. I see a classic pump and dump happening right now where they're already on the dump on Bitcoin going into the next one, which is Bitcash. It's a complete joke. I know for a fact. I just know. Nothing is guaranteed in life. Okay, I have never been more sure of something. Okay, that this ends really, really badly for people.
My concern is these guys are putting 50, 60, 70% of their savings into and thinking this is their way out. Like, here's how I'm going to become a millionaire.
And they very well might become one if they can figure out when to get out. The point is that bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered, right? And the question is when are you going to get out? And because at a certain point of game, of time, the music's going to stop playing, and there's not going to be enough chairs for everybody.
Yep.
In fact, there'll be very few chairs at all. It might be one chair, and everyone else is going to get. And here's the thing: when this thing really goes, if it's at 30,000, it's not going from 30,000 to 29,000 to 28. It's going from 30,000 to 1.
That's right.
With one trade, it'll just stop trading. It'll open up at 1,600. Next trade 400, gone.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.